guys? Welcome back to the Prayin and Slayin podcast. I'm your host, Aaron, and today we have Tyler Dunn with Rockman Packs, and he's also one of our Dead Nuts Field Ops members from our partners over at Dead Nuts Outdoors. Be sure to go check those guys out for some 2D targets. And Tyler has had an awesome season already this fall here in 2025 hunting mule deer, and it looks like he actually got an elk between when we scheduled this episode and when we're going to be recording here. But yeah, man, we're going to hear all about some mule deer and elk hunting out in Idaho with Tyler Dunn from Rockman Packs and Dead Nuts Outdoors. What are you up to today?
Just hanging around. Had the boys today, so made it pretty easy.
Yeah, heck yeah, dude. That's awesome. They home from school or what?
Yeah, we here in Idaho we don't have school on Fridays, so.
Oh, at all?
No, just Monday through Thursday. Yeah.
That makes it good for hunting season. Yeah, heck yeah.
It's fun.
That's awesome, man. They out hunting yet, or how old are they?
I've got a six-year-old and a 3-year-old, and then we have a 1-year-old girl. So the two boys, they'll come out every once in a while, but not shooting yet. So
yeah, man, that's awesome. You're a busy dude.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I just got the 1 3-year-old and one on the way, so my life's about to get a little busier here in January. So yeah,
right on.
Heck yeah, man.
When you said she's due, or your baby's due January?
Yeah, here like the end of January. So might end up on accident with 2 February babies, but either way, we're working it.
Heck yeah,
so
that's awesome.
Yeah, man, excited about it for sure. Got the second boy on the way, so it'll be a rowdy house. Yeah,
sweet. That's fun.
That's awesome. I got the 3. His birthday's in February, so he's almost 4, but he likes to go out to the range with me when we go to the rifle range or archery range, and he's got his own bows and stuff, but I let him shoot the air gun. It has no recoil or whatever, and he just loves that. And then the last time I was out, I had the 6.5 PRC out playing around with it, and he was amped to shoot it, and I'm like, all right, man, like let's play around. I got the suppressor on it, and when I'm shooting it, it seems like no recoil. And I put it on a tripod for him, and it definitely jumps more on a tripod than it does laying off bags and stuff. So he got one little scope bite, so he felt what that felt like, and he was like, I don't know if I want to shoot that anymore, man. So I'm like, I hope I didn't scare him away from it.
Yeah, no, he'll get some weight on him. He'll be all right.
Oh yeah, that's what I told him. Is you just got to keep eating your meat, dude. Get big like that, and we'll be shooting the big guns again. Transition here a little bit. So we've been doing some series with the Prayin and Slayin podcast, with conservation guests and Operation Hunt, which is our like veteran guests and stuff like that on. And then next year we'll be transitioning totally into just anybody and everybody that's got a cool hunting story to share, man. We'd love to have them on and hear a little bit about them, who they are, who the people are that are the bulk, all the blue collar guys like you and me that make up the hunting industry, dude, and all the people out there just having a good time hunting. So just want to learn a little bit about you. Obviously, I know you work with Rockman Packs, so definitely want to dive into that a little bit, or whatever you want to share about working in the outdoors industry. And then, of course, you've had a heck of a lot more successful season than I've had so far. So we want to dive into your mule deer hunt, and you got an elk between when we scheduled this thing and recorded it. So maybe hear about that too.
Cool. Yeah. No, I was born and raised here in Idaho. And me and my wife, we've been married for 7 years now. And yeah, we just got busy having kids, and that was always, both of us growing up, that was always our goal, is to have a family. So that was our main focus. And I never wanted to be an old dad, like I love the idea of being young with kids. So
yeah,
it definitely poses challenges, like raising kids right now in the world. It's expensive, and sometimes your friends, or you see your friends, they're out hunting all the time, snowmobiling, doing all this fun stuff they can afford. And sometimes you're like, oh, you got to give some stuff up to raise a family for sure. So, but that's what we chose to do, and I wouldn't change it. It's been awesome. Anyway,
how old are you right now, if you don't mind me asking?
28.
28. Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
definitely doing it. And you got a 6-year-old, so you were right out of the gate when you launched the family, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I graduated high school. I actually served a 2-year mission for my church.
Oh, sweet.
And so when I got home from that, I met my wife, and we got married pretty quick, and started having kids pretty quick. So, but no, I've always been an entrepreneur. I've never held a job of an actual company. So I started in sales, doing some door-to-door sales, and it was good for us. Didn't love it. So we actually started a food truck business called the Corndog Company. And so we own 2 food trucks, and we run them all summer. And it does so well for us in the summertime. I've been able to do different things in the winter, which that's how I got into the outdoor industry. Is I had from about October to March where I wasn't running my business. And so I got in with Rockman doing their expos and stuff all throughout the winter, which was pretty fun.
Heck yeah. That's sweet, dude. So like the corn dog company, was that like what you wanted to get into, or did you just know that there was a niche for some corn dogs out there and there's people in Idaho love them?
No, if
That's
you would have asked
awesome.
me, like, first of all, just owning a food truck in general, I would have never. I'm not a chef. Like, I don't cook, other than just, grilling stuff on for meat, whatever. But um, yeah, no, that wasn't at all on my radar. But there was an opportunity to get into it, and I saw the numbers on it, and when it comes down to like, because I would always think, food truck, I think barbecue
Yeah.
trucks are all over the place. And those are the real food truck guys. They're up all night smoking pork butts and ribs, and then they got to guess exactly how much they're going to sell, and it's a process. When you're selling corn dogs, man, it's so easy. Like,
Yeah.
it's an easy business model to do, and you make really good money because you can do a lot of events and big stuff, and everyone
Yeah.
loves a corn dog. We do the fresh dip corn
That's it.
dogs. So anyway, it's a fun business. I don't know how long I'll do it. I've been doing it for about
Yeah.
5 years now, and I don't know how long I'll do it, but it's been great for us so far. So
Heck yeah. Something you can kind of do and travel around in the summer when you're not hunting. And I mean, kind of a fun gig too. It's like one of those anomaly jobs, it's just you don't really think about, but it sounds actually kind of fun. I mean, like you said, you can do any type of event you could imagine, fairs, parking lot, whatever. And it's like you name it. And like you said, I don't know if there's anybody that you're not going to not have customers at a corn dog food truck.
yeah, you show up to an event, like if you're just going to a concert, you're going to a fair, a rodeo, whatever, and you see the lines, you're like, oh man, all these lines trying to get food. Well, those guys are raking it in.
Yeah.
Like, it is good. It's a cool business, and it's fun, and it's getting a little saturated in Idaho. There's a lot of new trucks coming in, but the cool
Hmm.
thing is when you've been around for a while, when people think, who do we want to book for this event? You're on kind of a short list, which has been nice to kind of grow that name. So
That's
anyway, yeah,
awesome.
it's fun.
Heck yeah, dude. Yeah, you're right. Down here, I mean, we are stationed in Texas now. So, uh, barbecue food trucks as far as the eye can see down here, pretty much. And actually, one of our neighbors has got one, and he goes up to there's a dentist office on Tuesdays. He's at Blue Cord Barbecue, I think is his business. But yeah, like you said, if we're out doing like a family walk in the evening or whatever, he's out there. He's chopping meat and doing everything in his garage up till 11
Oh yeah.
o'clock, doing it all. And then he's up there, taking his truck wherever it needs to go. But yeah, that's cool. Just out of curiosity, was it like something you guys researched, or did you just like we like corn dogs? Seems like we could get into this. How did you guys originally decide like let's start a food truck and let's get corn dogs?
Yeah, I don't like corn dogs actually. Like, I was the kid that didn't like, a microwave corn dog. It wasn't my
Yeah.
favorite. And it was actually my brother-in-law. He got into it and was kind of showing me the numbers while I was doing sales. And I even told him point blank, I'm like, dude, I am not going to be a corn dog salesman. Like, I'm not going to sell corn dogs for a living.
Yeah.
And he had kind of proven that model and wanted to expand. And that's when I came in, with him, and we were partners for a year, and it was great. But he wanted to kind of go a different direction. I wanted to go a different direction. So we ended up splitting and owning two separate areas in Idaho.
Okay.
And so we kind of do our own thing now, but it's still the same company. And you'll actually see them. It's franchise, so we own franchises of it. So you'll actually see them all over Utah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming. There's quite a few around. So
Okay. Yeah, very cool, man. No, it's definitely an interesting one. I wasn't expecting that. I knew the Rockman thing, the outdoors industry side, but I had no idea I was going to get hit with a food truck vendor today that
yeah.
serves up corn dogs to the population, dude. That's awesome. Well, then,
Well, and
so you
I also have my general contracting license. We're just building a house right now. We build some
oh, cool.
houses throughout the year too. So
Yeah, jack of all trades. That's awesome, man.
I
Very
don't know if
cool.
I'm good in any of them, but I do them all.
Hey, people are hiring you, people are booking you, man. You're good at it. No,
Yeah.
that's great. So moving into outdoors world, so what brought you to Rockman Packs? And I've worked with them in the past in the previous company, like through some partnership things, and so I'm familiar with the packs. I've actually got a Rockman Bino harness, but like, what brought you there, and how did that come about?
So while I was during my sales days, there was one of the managers in that sales company. they were actually hired to run Rockman's sales side. I think he was actually hired as the CEO, but he was running the sales side of it. And so he called me up and said, "Hey, dude, I know you love hunting. I know you love this stuff. Is there any chance you'd come jump in with us and do the sales side of Rockman?" And I was all about it. I love the idea of it. And our first outing, they gave me a couple Rockman packs and said, "Hey, I want you to try these out and make sure you like them." And yeah, I was hooked. They're awesome. So yeah, I traveled with them for the last 4 years. I've traveled with them to 3 or 4 expos per year. And so we've been to Vegas and Reno and all the different expos, and it's been awesome. It's been a fun ride for that. And then obviously that's where I met Corey and got to kind of get into the dead nut side of just helping out. Sometimes you get in a little too deep where you're trying to help out different companies and you don't
Oh
do a
yeah.
great job. That's kind of where I'm at.
Hey.
But it's cool when you do have the connections, and then you get back to your buddies and they're like, "Dude, what's this archery target thing you're doing, or what are these packs that you're selling?" And
Mhm.
that's where I've seen a lot of success, is just kind of getting them out in my little area. So
Yeah, for sure, man. That's the best way to do it, getting hands on with it, just like going to an expo. It's kind of the weird thing between. I was just talking to one of the dead nuts. We just signed her up yesterday, a new dealer, the Connector Cash out of Idaho, actually. McCall, I don't know how far that is from you, but
McCall.
anyway, yeah,
Oh yeah, it's quite a bit north, but
quite a ways. Yeah, it
yeah,
sounds like she's kind of that little niche in the middle of nowhere type deal for the sportsman community. So, but anyway, I was talking to her, and I was the whole point of going from like a manufacturer's rep where you work for a company to, you can go to a trade show and sell the heck out of your product, but then you merging it into that retail world where you kind of like you're familiar with the dealer side. Whole different ball game. Dealers
oh,
they're going to take some risk on buying the product, and they got to know it'll sell and people want it, but going around and touching it, feeling it, seeing it. That's the way to go about it for sure. So getting it out there into your local community, taking it into a retailer so they can see what it's all about or something is definitely a way better way to sell something. And plus, when people know you, they know, hey, if he's using it, it's got to be something good, right? Very cool. So you've been doing that for how many years? You said.
about 4 years I've been with helping Rockman. Yeah. And
Awesome.
the cool thing with Rockman is the guys that built it and kind of created the product are just awesome guys. Like Brandon Bear is one of the owners. Zach Hillman's one of the owners. They're just really good dudes. And so
Hmm.
when we go out to those expos, it's like, dude, yeah, I'll go hang out with you for a week, and we'll go sell products and get the booth set up, sell product. And anyway, it's just a good time, and they make an awesome product. So
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about them? So their claim to fame, correct me if I'm wrong here, is they're like everything they do. I think the vinyl harness maybe be an exception, but like everything they do from a pack perspective is waterproof, correct?
right, yep, yeah. So their slogan is stackable, packable, and 100% dry. So it's a modular pack system. So you have your shoulder straps as the base of it, and you can put 3 different packs, meat hauler. You can put a bunch of different stuff on that one shoulder strap, and then yeah, they have a waterproof gun case that fits. I've got a 300 PRC with a 26-inch barrel and a 7-inch can. It's a cannon, and
Holy cow.
that waterproof Rockman case, you just slide your gun in and it zips up, and it's 100% waterproof. If you check out their social media, they actually will put their $10,000 rifles in there and just huck it into the river, and it'll just
That's
float
awesome.
down the river, and you grab it and it's 100% dry. So yeah, and honestly, like what I've found in those expos is that's not a big deal for a lot of people. A 100% waterproof pack. People are like, well, if it's raining, I'm not going to be out there. But as
Right.
soon as you do want a waterproof pack, you'd kill for
Hmm.
one. They are
Yeah.
awesome, and I've used them. I've used them a bunch of times on a bunch of different hunts, and they're pretty awesome. So
That's fantastic, man. Yeah, the only I've never tested one of their packs. I remember the first expo I ever saw Rockman was at I think it was ISE in Sacramento, California, actually. And we were in this like really odd part of the expo, so traffic was kind of weird. But Rockman packs was like catty corner to us, and so we came over, we checked some stuff out, and they've evolved a lot since. But I remember kind of thinking the same thing, like as a cut from a customer perspective, like I like the idea, but then like I'm a big dude. I put out a lot of heat when I hike. I go in with minimal layers on because I just heat up so fast. Like How does it? Is there their shoulder strap system, does it provide some gap? Because I can imagine something being waterproof. My biggest thing would be like, okay, it's gonna be sweating like crazy down my back and getting me cold if I stop or whatever. But like, how do they mitigate that?
Well, the pack's not actually sitting on you at all. So the
Okay,
way the shoulder straps sit on you is there's a big gap in like your middle back that isn't being touched by anything, which is really
awesome.
nice. So you have your hip belt and then you've got your upper back padding that come up
Hmm.
to your shoulders. And then there's really no like the bag's not like laying on you in any way. So I haven't noticed that either. I'm a sweater too. Like when I get hiking, I'm gonna be dripping. So I haven't noticed that different than any other pack that I've had.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, because even like I've got like Stone Glaciers, the pack that I settled on when I moved. We got stationed in Montana and moved from like Midwestern hunter freestand guy to like you need to move and be mobile. And it was just I actually went down to their factory and that's kind of what sold me on it was like I got to try it on, try the different frames to see which one fit me, all that stuff. But even that, like it gets hot and you start moving around in those pads that run the full length of your back if they're making contact. So that's cool that they have a gap in there. And then even cooler that it's waterproof. Do they have, is it like a significant like weight difference or they keep things pretty lightweight? You know, that was a big thing. I remember when I was doing my research for packs, it was like all about ounces, right?
Right.
But so how do they play that game?
Well, there's always your you know, the lightweight like Stone Glacier and Exo packs and all that. You're gonna, yeah, you might be able to cut some ounces. But my biggest thing is like once you kill something and you're loading it on your bag, those ounces are really don't make a big difference. You know,
They don't
like
matter. 100%.
uh, obviously if you're like packing a camp in and you want to save ounces on every little thing, I get that because it does add up. But my favorite part with a Rockman pack is when I throw a bloody quarter on there, I get home and I like spray that sucker down and it's brand new. Instead,
That's
if you
awesome.
have a Stone Glacier or Exo or Mystery Ranch or anything and you're trying to load it in a garbage bag, it doesn't
Yep.
release the heat. And then you're putting that in your backpack with all your other stuff. It's just, it's difficult. And with these Rockman packs, you don't have to do that. You just pack that on. There's a big load strap that comes out the back. You pack it on there. And then when you get home, it's just easy as spraying it off and hanging it up and it's ready to go again. So there are some
That's
other
huge.
aspects to that that I really, really like.
Yeah, very cool, man. Yeah, that's just all stuff hadn't really thought about till we're talking right now. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, what about this? What about that? That's cool. And yeah, you're right. The blood stains are as soon as they get on there, they're about impossible to get out of corridor. There's ways to do it, I guess, but like by the time you're done hunting, the last thing you hang your pack up and you don't touch it till next year, those stains set in pretty solid. So
Yeah.
if you can
Yeah,
just
or
spray it off.
you put it in your wife's bathtub with warm soapy water and you've got elk hair and blood in your bathtub. That's what got me in
Exactly.
trouble.
Oh boy, that's a good exfoliator for the feet, I've heard. So yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, very cool. So you're obviously in Idaho. Western hunter is the box I would put you in. What's your favorite thing to hunt? You obviously we got a mule deer story, maybe an elk story here to tell, but like what's your thing you fell in love with to chase the most?
Archery elk in the rut is hard to
Yeah,
beat. Yeah, I spent all September. In fact, this year I hunted 23 days out of 30 days on chasing bulls. And
dang.
I mean, I had really good luck and at the same time I had crappy luck. I actually ended up sticking 3 bulls and just ran out of blood and I would look and
No
look and look.
way.
It was one of those years where I was like, how does that happen 3 times in a row? And
Yeah.
they are just tough animals. And I was using those and no shade on any companies. I was using the Beast broadheads
I've
and
been seeing a ton of people like switch to those this year. I don't know if they doing a big marketing push or if that many people are just impressed by them.
yeah, they're everywhere. Like you
Yeah.
every time you get on social media, yeah, they are everywhere. And the concept makes tons of sense to me. Like if you are shooting an animal and you're like what I want is the best opportunity, right? And if I am a
Yep.
little off on my shot and I can still have a good opportunity with my broadhead. So the biggest thing is their bone evading technology, right? Like they can hit a shoulder blade and those broadhead blades sink in and then pop back out. But yeah, what I found is I one lunged one bull. Just I hit him low and got one lung, and it just wasn't enough to knock him down. I ended up finding him the next day, and he was chasing cows. Like he was up and
Wow.
running around, and there was a little red spot on his side, and that was it. So
Huh.
I don't think they're as deadly as they look, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I think with an elk, you can stick them almost perfect, and they are just tough suckers.
Yeah.
So anyway, I my last bull I shot, I actually switched back to just a fixed blade. I just wanted the strength of a fixed blade and the penetration, and I actually sunk a frontal shot, sunk my arrow clear past the fletchings into a frontal. He turned and ran, and just blood was just spraying. I watched him for about 100 yards running through a field, spraying and yeah, didn't end up finding him. He bled for about a mile, just over a mile, was just spraying blood,
No
and
way.
quit. Yeah, the arrow came out, and he kind of quit bleeding, and we gridded that for like 3 days because it was the third bull I had stuck. I'm like, I am finding this bull. I don't care if he's
Yeah.
spoiled. I am going to find him. So for 3 days, we gridded that mountain and could not find
Nothing.
him.
No
So
kidding.
yeah, pretty bad luck there. But as far as getting bulls in front of me, like there's very few years where you get 3 bulls to come in and get a shot. So it was a fun year, but man, it had some serious downs to it.
Oh, you bet, man. Those seasons like that, it'll make your head spin. It's I haven't had it with elk. I just haven't had enough experience with it. But the blood thing on an elk, man, like I remember the first guy that I got a chance to go with was on a private piece in Colorado. A guy's got like a little lease. They actually tree stand hunt out of it. So it was like I'm
Oh,
in Montana and I'm gone a few times doing the spot and stock and calling and all that. And then I'm like, okay, I guess we'll go back to tree stand hunting. But he was telling me like the thing with an elk is you want to shoot them like your instinct, especially being a white, like I grew up whitetail hunting, so my instinct is just put it center that chest cavity right behind the shoulder and let her rip. Um, but the body size difference on an elk is massively different. So they have a lot of room in there, especially in the ahead of the diaphragm where they can fill up with blood before they even start bleeding. So
mhm.
he was kind of coaching me the weeks leading up to it, like, hey man, just shoot it lower than you think you need to. Just because your instinct's going to take over, but make sure you take some time and aim for that, a little lower. And but true to form, instinct took over, shot it just dead center, 40 yards. I ended up getting one, which is awesome. But same thing, man. I had one pivot. He just did a pinwheel. He took off. He jumped a fence, and then like he stood for a minute, and his head was kind of wobbling side to side, and I heard him cough a couple times, and then he just like walked off. And I was like, okay, cool. It's like I'll find blood there, and I'll just find him, a few yards up or whatever. And long story short, I had no blood, nothing to go off of. I couldn't even find his tracks. He was walking on grass. I'm like, oh, this sucks. So I kind of figured I knew where he might be, or maybe bedded down or something. But I backed out, went out the next day, and there was no blood the whole way there. There's blood on the arrow because the arrow passed straight through him. But the only blood that was there was the downside of his body where he was laying. That was it. And he maybe went like 40, 50 yards. So it wasn't terrible. Yeah, you want an elk to bleed, that's for sure. And
Yeah.
it's harder. You think you're shooting at a basketball, but like there's extra things to think about because it's way tougher to find an elk, I think, than a deer. And I found I had a season just like that as a younger hunter. Bow season did the same thing. I stuck two different bucks, or maybe the third one I got, but I stuck 3 deer at the end of the day. But I shot a biggest deer I'll probably ever have a chance to shoot at. Dumb luck. He came in right under the tree stand. I hit him in the shoulder too far forward. Same thing. Tracked him forever. Drops of blood. And then just never found him. He lived. I saw him the next year, way bigger than that. Just never got a shot at him. And then a big white 8 point. I think I hit like just above the vitals with that one. But I switched arrows. I switched broadheads. I switched everything after that season. I'm like, what in the heck is going on, dude? I was shooting like the Muzzy fixed blades because
Oh yeah.
economics plays in as a young hunter. Like I can go to Walmart and get 6 muzzies for the price of any other broadhead 3 pack. So that's what I was doing. After that I switched, went mechanical. I'm like I need to make sure it flies just like a field point and all that. But and now I'm back to a fixed blade like you. What fixed blade are you shooting?
I just had the Montac G5s.
Those are solid, man.
They
There's a
are.
lot of guys that use them, and I've never seen anybody say anything negative about them. They're just a rock solid broadhead.
Yeah. Yeah, I killed a bull last year at 88 yards with one of those, and it flew
Holy cow!
perfect, stuck him right in the back, right in behind the shoulder, and I had no issues finding him. So they fly, I think, better than people like to think they do if you have it tuned right.
Yeah, That tuning's everything, dude. That was I'd never had a bow tuned beyond like just getting it from the shop and them setting it up and all this stuff. And I remember I was shooting a Martin Firecat, I think. And anyway, I remember I took it when I moved to Montana. I took it to straight six archery and had them tune it because I was just up there for something else and I was working for another company, so it's kind of like checking out their store for sales and stuff like that. But I brought my bow with me while my wife was doing whatever she was doing for the military. And yeah, I brought it in there to get tuned, and I couldn't believe it when I got home, dude. It didn't matter what I threw on that arrow; it was flying straight, and it was like 30 yards, 40 yards, 50 yards, 60 yards, just like bombs. And I'm like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, that makes a huge difference. So, some guys that just get into archery and they're inconsistent, like go get your bow tuned to make sure it's done by a good shop, and you'd be blown away at what your bow can do compared to what you think it might be able to do.
Yeah.
So you're a primary archery elk hunter, but today's story is about an awesome mule deer hunt that you had. You told me it was going to be way better than your wife's fork horn that she got.
Yeah, no, my wife, she didn't grow up hunting, so I have to touch on that for a second. Yeah, she didn't grow up hunting. She grew up on a farm around, a lot of people that hunted, but her family didn't hunt a lot. So I just begged her. I was like, just try it. Let's just go out and try it. And here in Idaho, my dad owns a piece of private ground that get deer on it. Not big bucks. Like we've killed a couple nice bucks off it, but nothing crazy. Um, and I took her out there and just to experience being out there and watching over there. There's so many does. You'll watch 70 to 80 does every morning and evening just come feed into the canyons and feed out into the fields. And what she really loved was just being so close to them because we'll sit in a canyon, they'll come right down in there, and you'll hear the babies, mewing at the moms, and just a cool experience. And then she was super patient. Like her first 2 years, she did not want to kill a little buck. She was like, if I see a buck that really gets me excited, I'll shoot one. So she actually did. She killed a couple. Her first buck was a nice 4 point buck, and then last year she killed a big wide 3 point. But this year we were, due to my lack of killing elk, we were low on meat, and I
Yeah,
hate buying meat at the store, and
dude.
so yeah, she's like, "Hey, I'll shoot the first buck I see. I don't care if it's tiny, like we need meat." And I'm like, "Sounds good to me." So we went out and yeah, she put the hammer down on a little forked horn and got it home. And between her buck and my buck, we ended up getting about 40 pounds of hamburger.
Heck
So
yeah, dude. This episode is powered by Dead Nuts Outdoors, makers of the most lifelike, lightweight, and weatherproof 2D archery targets in the world. That's right, I said 2D. We're talking full-size animals that bring the hunt to your backyard. Whether you're dialing in before the season or just burning daylight with your bow, Dead Nuts Targets makes practicing fun, training on full-size animals to ensure every rep in the backyard converts to success on your trips to the field. Built to last, easy to haul, compatible with any backstop, and 100% made in the USA, Dead Nuts Outdoors is a proud supporter of our veterans, investing in conservation and rooted in building a better, more confident community of hunters every step of the way. They are proud supporters of the Prayin and Slayin podcast network, and you can get 10% off your Dead Nuts targets by using the code Prayin and Slayin at checkout. That's Prayin and Slayin at your checkout or visiting the link in the show notes. Dead Nuts is helping us all hit the spot, not the dot. Hit it, Dead Nuts. Now, let's get back to the episode.
well worth the trip. But no, my buck, yeah, I was over there looking at my dad's ranch, looking around for hope every once in a while a nice buck will come on there. And so I was kind of hoping that maybe we'd see something, and we just weren't seeing anything. So we loaded up our horses and packed in about 4 miles back into this place where we elk hunt. And we had heard of some deer out there, and so we just went up there to look around. And everyone we ran into, they were elk hunting still. They had some rifle elk tags. So we got up there and just kind of waited to see what would get pushed into this canyon that we were watching. And we saw this buck just as he was cresting over this ridge, and just saw that he was kind of a wide set buck. And this is 2 days before the last day of the season. So my expectations, my standards were pretty low. But
Yeah.
he ended up feeding out on the next hillside, and we ranged him at 750. And so we got the spotter all set up on video, and I had been dialing my new gun to make sure that I could shoot that far. And
Hmm.
the one mistake I made is I didn't attest for the wind. So the wind was
Oh, yeah.
coming across just real light, but at that distance, it can make a
Hmm.
difference. So I get down on the gun and get ready to go and crack one off, and all I hear my dad saying is, "You hit him in the head. You hit him right in the head." My bullet drifted over about a foot and a half, and it
Holy
had its
cow.
head down eaten, and it just capped it right in the back of the head, dropped him right there. And
I mean,
so,
the perfect
yeah,
shot, no meat
I
spoilage.
mean, I, uh, I posted that on my social media, and about 90% of the comments were, "That's so lucky. That's not a good
Oh,
shot. That's
for
lucky."
sure.
I'm like, "You know what? Better to be lucky than good. I'll take it." So,
That's it,
it
man. Yeah,
it was pretty
it's
fun.
crazy, dude. That's incredible. So you guys, did you camp up there, or just took the horses back just for that one hunt, and you got it on that same hunt?
Yeah, no, we went in there the day before and went in a different place, didn't find anything, came back and just we camped at the trailhead and then went up
Okay.
a different spot. But yeah.
So you guys set up like a canvas tent, or what do you got for camping situation
We
with
just had a
horses?
little teepee tent, little hot tent, teepee tent. Yeah.
Very
Nothing
cool.
crazy.
I only got one backpack hunting trip under my belt, and we packed it in, like hiked it in, like I think it was 3.5 miles. But yeah, that's cool. I'm always curious when guys have horses, like how their camp changes. But like so, when you're in there for a quick day or two, I didn't know if you'd go through the hassle of setting all that up. But yeah, 750 is a poke, man. Was that with the long gun you were talking about? You said 300
Yeah,
PRC
yeah,
with the
200
26 inch
PRC.
barrel.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah,
That's
I
sweet.
wouldn't pack that up. If I was hiking in there, I would not have been packing that around, but when you're on a horse, you can throw it in there and take it, no big deal. So,
What kind of gun are you shooting?
it's a Seekins Precision.
Very cool, man. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, the wind factor. My first taste of that was on a 200-yard shot on a. I got a double drop tine mule deer. He's like a little kind of a basket 3x3, but he's got big matching drop tines. And it was last day of season. We got in on this like block management unit that you have to like put in days that you're specifically going to go for. And my buddy had put in days, and he had a guy that didn't end up going with him, so I got to go. And anyway, yeah, 200 yards across the river. I mean, that wind was howling. It was like 30, 35 miles an hour that day. And I didn't think much about it. I'm like 200 yards, 6.5 by 300 is what I was shooting. Like I didn't even hold for wind at all. I put it right where I wanted it. And yeah, it hit him and he kicked and took off and I knew he was hit good. But I was aiming kind of just behind the front shoulder. He was quartering too. So I was kind of aiming for his like offside. Anyway, yeah, I had to end up shooting him another time. I got in there to the timber, uh, walked through there, but that bullet had gone with 35 miles an hour at 200 yards or whatever that wind was. It was
Oh,
like
wow.
about 8 inches off. Like, so it like it got him in the liver. So he would have went, but he needed another one to make it clean. But that's crazy, man. Yeah. But either way, like you said, lucky's better than good at that distance. That
Yeah,
long
yeah, it
distance.
was pretty.
Do you do any, like practicing for long range? You do any, like, go to any long range, courses or do anything like that, or just all stuff that you do on your own at the range?
Yeah, we set up a range, um, there on my dad's ranch. So we'll just set it up, and I don't do anything competitive or anything like that. It's more fun for me just to know, like, I have this kinda anal about every gun in my safe needs to be dialed, and I need to know
Yeah,
that every
100%.
single one of them is ready to rock and roll. So I go out and shoot quite a bit just for that reason. I'm not gonna go
Yep.
try and win anything, but
Yeah.
it makes it fun.
Heck yeah, man. I'm the same way every time we move, and the guns always come with us. I never let the movers touch them. So, but banging around in a bed of a truck or whatever the whole way, the first thing I do is try to find somewhere I can go shoot, and at least make sure they're holding their 100-yard zero. And yeah, I've had some issues with. I had it happen at a long range shooting school I went to for work one time, like a content shoot, and they were having some competition at the 1,000-yard mark at the last day, and they're having everybody shoot, and like the last man standing was gonna like they won a T-shirt or something. I can't remember what it was, but anyway, I was shooting well all day, and I had the during that competition I shot and I missed, couldn't figure out where it was, shot again, and it hit like 100 yards in front of the target. And the guy's like, that's weird. Shoot again. They were normally only doing two shots, and he's like, shoot one more time. So I shot, and it was like 50 yards short of the target. And but I had it dialed for everything that we needed to dial. But anyway, the box of ammo was weird, so it was like very inconsistent from shot to shot to shot. In this, so he went and got another box of shells, brought them out, said, try this. Made sure it was a different lot number. I shot, and I hit on the first shot. So that was kind of neat. But I'm running into that right now. And I don't not bashing the company. I love Hornady's Precision Hunter, the ELDX. I don't have a gun that I've got in my safe that doesn't love shooting that stuff. But with my 6.5 PRC specifically, I don't know if I have a weird lot going on, but I've got where I've had to adjust my dope several times between boxes of ammo for like, I mean, 200 to 400 feet per second difference from what the box advertises, which is crazy. So anyway, just interesting stuff there too. You know, you got to look out for when you start getting at distance, 200 yards, 300 yards, like you're going to hit the vitals, but you get beyond 300 and all of a sudden your major drop difference or shooting way high because it's faster or whatever. It's kind of crazy.
That's crazy you say that because I have had issues with misfires with those Hornady ELDX, the Precision
No
Hunter.
kidding. Yep.
Yeah, so they actually just sent me out a new box because I shot and half of the shells didn't fire out of my.
Oh,
I was
wow.
shooting that out of my 270, and yeah, I called them. I was
No
like,
way.
hey, because I went and got my firing pin tested, and it was hitting the perfect depth, and so I went and bought just a cheap some Remington core locks, and it shot every single one of those. And then so I called Hornady. I'm like, hey, something's up with this. So they sent me out another box, and the same thing happened. And I'm like, okay, I don't think that's my gun. Like, I think that is the
No.
ammo. And so I haven't heard back from. I told them that same thing happened. I haven't heard back from them, but I don't know. That's weird.
That's it. Yeah, that's so crazy with the 270 of all things. So
Yeah.
all three guns, took them out to the range, took my wife's 6.5 Creedmoor out there. Um, Creedmoor shot great. The 6.5 300 shot great. PRC, I noticed that 200 yard or 200 feet per second. I was doping difference for 200 feet per second slower on that because at 200 yards I was dropping like point 0.8 mils, which is crazy from where it should have been hitting. Anyway, and then I got the 270 out. I've got a Winchester Model 70 featherweight 270. That's what I shot my first mule deer with. My wife shot her first deer ever with that. I've always shot the Hornady Precision Hunter ELDX out there, but I had the same thing. I shot 4 different shells that didn't fire. The fifth shot fired. But at that point, I'm like, I don't know if my gun needs some help or what, because it kind of felt like maybe it was shooting a little, but I haven't shot it in so long. It's kind of been a safe queen ever since I got the PRC and the 6.5 300. But anyway, so then I flipped the box around and started eating from the back half, and same thing. I got like 4 shells in before one fired, and I was like, but since then
Mhm.
I took my gun home, assuming it was maybe my firing pin. I haven't gotten back out there to shoot it, but they had a sale at Shields there in Great Falls, Montana on the 270 specifically. And I had a buddy go in there, and because you could only buy like 4 boxes a day, so I bought 4 boxes. My buddy bought 4 boxes, went back and did it again. So I've got a ton of it laying around, but it makes me wonder if it might not be a weird lot out of that maybe, but it's the same thing, that 270.
Huh,
My gun's not
interesting.
firing it either. Yeah, that's weird, but yeah, who knows? This is turned into a Hornady customer service
Yeah.
podcast, but
Hopefully we don't get silenced or something.
for sure. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Interesting. I mean, maybe there was something going on with the primers or something. Who knows? I mean, there's so many variables, but yeah, I've talked to a few guys and they're like, "That's why I hand load. That's why I hand load." I'm like, "Yeah, but again, moving around with the military and stuff, it's kind of I would like to get into it, but it's just one more thing that I have to move with and have a place to do it and all that every time. And we get settled down someday, find a permanent home, I think I'll probably get into that and dabble with it. But um, yeah, then anyway, just interesting stuff for sure there. Well, cool,
Yeah.
man. Well, tell me about your elk hunt too.
So that one was
The one that you
pretty.
got.
Yeah, that one was pretty lame. It was
Yeah.
awesome, but it
Was
was
it?
pretty lame. We just I we have this spot where we've gone for the last few years where it's near some serious private property. When I say serious private property, it's like you do not go on it
Okay.
under any circumstances. So we hunt near it, which is hard to bow hunt that. It's really not smart to bow hunt it because you can't control once you stick a bull how far it's
Right.
going to go, which direction, all that stuff. So, but there are elk in there, and we see them all the time. We've got cameras in there. So I'm like, well, if I go in there and just start, pounding timber, if I see something, it's not going to take off running more than 100 yards, more than likely. So, anyway, I just went and was just real smart about property lines and just kind of cruised up through there. And the cool part about it is my grandpa, when he passed away, he left his tried and true 30-06 to my dad. And for Christmas a couple years ago, my dad kind of renewed that, redid the stock and everything, and gave it to me. And so I'm
Oh,
like, you
cool.
know what? I'm going to take this old 30-06. It hasn't the last time it killed an elk was my grandpa, and my grandpa probably killed, 25, 30 elk with it. So
Yeah.
I took that out and just real quiet hiked through timber and got on a really fresh track. We had just had some snow, so I got on a really fresh track and was able to get right in. I ended up shooting this cow at like 35 yards because she was just, I got right into him. So it was cool. It was a real cool experience to be able to take that elk with that rifle. So,
Yeah. Heck
but
yeah, man. That's awesome.
the pack out was super easy. And when you're hunting a cow, I mean, we wanted the meat, we needed the meat, which was awesome. But when you after you pull the trigger, the work really begins because there's no, excitement of any antlers or anything. So it's just down to work at that point. So my dad wasn't able to go with me that day, so I ended up quartering it and everything by myself, and I only had to haul it out of there a couple hundred yards, so it wasn't too bad. But
Oh, that's good.
got
That's
it to
good,
the
man.
release and out of there.
Heck yeah. You do all your own meat processing yourself?
I do. Yep.
Heck yeah, dude. That's about my favorite part of the season, I think. It just like it just adds to it all, right? Because then you get to package it, you get to count the pounds you got to put in the freezer, and I don't know, there's an extra level to it. And yeah, I'm missing that for sure. We were in Montana for 4 years, and that was like just dream season, dude. You walk out of the Fish Wildlife Parks office with a pocket full of tags and just sayonara suckers and just go wherever you want, public land everywhere. And yeah, I think when we left there, we gave away like just over 200 pounds of meat that we couldn't move with. But it was like the best feeling ever, never having to go to the grocery store and ever think about red meat, period, you know. And while that
Yeah.
between pheasants and turkey, you can hunt like five, six, seven turkeys, something like that in the state if you really get after turkeys. So you got everything up there. And yeah, but how's Idaho work as far as like what you guys have? You got it all over the counter tags for residents with elk and mule deer?
Yep. Yeah, and
Awesome.
this year was awesome because I was actually able to buy two. I bought a resident elk tag and a non-resident elk tag. So
Oh,
I drew a just easy cow tag, and then I purchased just our local over the counter tag so I could bow hunt. And then the elk I killed was actually down here. This Sunday afternoon, we're going to take off and head up. It's a couple hours north. We're going to head up near Yellowstone National Park, is
hmm.
where I have that cow tag up there. So
Oh, very cool.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we're gonna go hunt that and just see if we can find a cow up there. So
Sitting good with some meat in there, that's for sure.
yeah, yeah, my dad's got he didn't kill anything this year, so we would give some to him, and then there's some people just at the church or whatever we could maybe pass some out if we didn't need any. So
It's always good having people that I was surprised, because one of my, I don't know if like you call me a meat hoarder, but like for the first time ever when we were giving all that stuff away in Montana, just the sheer volume of it, I was like, I remember going through the bags and like trying to weigh in my head, like how serious are these people about eating it kind of thing. And like making sure
yeah,
that the things that like actually maybe take some prep time or like a muscle group that I kept whole that I knew how I was going to do it, like making sure that went to somebody that like would probably take the time to eat that or cook that right. But then making sure the people that I didn't know was like getting hamburger because that's good for everything. But
right.
it's a weird feeling giving it away, but it's always good to know it's going to people that ate it. And then we got a ton of thank yous. I was funny, like my pretty much packed my wife's Buick's trunk full of grocery sacks of meat with different names on them. She passed them all out at work. So, but yeah,
Oh,
always
cool.
good to be able to give back to people, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool. So you mentioned earlier in the podcast, and you mentioned church again. You said you did a 2 year mission. What was that about?
Yeah,
After
so I'm a
out of
member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So
okay,
when you graduate high school, they've changed the age from 19 to 18, so you can get out on it's a 2-year service mission pretty much. So
yeah,
you pay your own way, you get called to a certain area in the world. Mine wasn't crazy. I went to Southern California, which I thought was going to be normal, but man, that was like another world. Growing up in a
yeah,
small town in Idaho, you go to Southern California, which uh, lots of different types of people down there for sure. So anyway,
oh
you go
yeah,
down there, you teach the gospel, you help people, come to Christ, and it's just a really cool experience to. Um, it really makes you grow up. You're kind of a
oh
stupid
yeah,
high school kid. You're literally a stupid senior in high school doing dumb stuff, and then you really go out and you try to help people, teach them the gospel, and it's really a cool experience. So I actually met my wife there, and then we got married, and um, I don't know. It's in this time of the world. I don't know how you raise kids without some type of knowledge of God and Jesus and the plan, and you got to give them something to hold on to, and that's
Yeah,
you know
man.
for me, that's the most important thing I can give my kids. You can teach them to go hunting and all this cool stuff, but at the end of the day, you want them to have a relationship with Jesus and know that they can become better. And if they screw up, there's a way back. And anyway, so
No, you're spot on, man. I remember that's really cool. I remember yeah, from Montana, we'd always fly through Salt Lake like almost every single time we'd go anywhere, right? Like on a flight. And I remember a couple different flights, like you'd have to take the buses out to the flight line and then get on your plane. They'd bus you to where the planes are. And I don't know how many times I'd get out there. Like you said, there's all these young LDS guys, and they're in there, and there's the community's got to be giant for you guys too out in that area because I don't know how many conversations I just sat there listened to on those bus rides that these guys did. They're either look really nervous or they're kind of excited because they're going with a buddy or whatever. And then
mm,
there's always some older person on that bus that's sitting there like kind of hyping them up for what they're about to go do and rooting them on. And you're just like, dude, I remember just sitting there thinking to myself like, I don't know if I'd have the like it'd be such a wild experience at that age, knowing like, okay, for 2 years I uh, got to go do this crazy thing. And but like you said, it's you can't ask for a better mission. And the cool part is too is like you guys get the opportunity to do that at that age to just really solidify like the foundation you get at that vital point in your life with Christ and Jesus and sharing that with other people is really cool. So it's always like a wild thing that we're just sitting there like reflecting, like, I don't know if I'd like have the guts to go do that. I'm just trying to put yourself in their shoes and see if you can figure it out. But that's
yeah.
awesome, dude.
Well, what really clicked for me at a young age was, I had buddies that they didn't go to church and stuff, and I was still really good friends with them, and they'd always make comments like, "Dude, there's so many rules and all this stuff that you have to do and you can't do," and I'm like, at a young age, I even saw then, like, when you do follow the rules, or when you do, keep the commandments, it really sets you free. It's really
It
keeps you
does.
from, the different addictions and different problems and um, stuff that people deal with in the world. When you just follow the rules or follow the commandments, do what God asks you to do, it really makes you free. It's not what binds you down. It's sin that binds you down. So I remember at a
Yeah.
young age that clicking for me. And so all the rules that you have to follow are like, that's easy. If it's going to keep me from having to deal with that later in life, that's easy. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
attribute that keeping me out of a lot of trouble.
Oh, for sure, man. A relationship with God and Jesus, it definitely will. But when it sits in the back of your mind, and this, like you said, you've got your. I remember going through. I grew up. Lutheran church was like the primary church that we'd go to, um, and I remember sitting in like the like youth groups, and you go through like your confirmation phase and all that stuff, and like go to like these Wednesday night things for like youth stuff. Anyway, and just kind of like you'd see the guys that were there like too cool for school, but there's always that weird lingering thing in the back of my mind, kind of like you could feel there's something bigger to it all, and
Yeah.
but it does when you set yourself in it and immerse yourself in it, it does tie you down in a way that's like it makes you think twice on a lot of things, which is good. And then you reflect back in your life, and you're like, oh my God, thank God that I had that faith at this time, or thank God that I was just thinking just right enough at that time, because it does shape your life as you go. But like you said, it keeps you out of a lot of just general trouble. And it's not like, and then what Jesus did takes care of the rest anyway, right? So when we found out we were pregnant with my son, it was kind of this really cool thing. It was like a 3 year journey for us, that whole deal. And then I remember like about the time he was, I think about one, it hit me, and I'm like, everything kind of is relatively easy, just like getting him through life, feeding him, changing him, teaching him this, teaching him that. His favorite thing to watch right now is iguana hunting on, the Python Cowboy on YouTube. I'll leave
Yeah.
it on all day, and he runs around with his fake shotgun shooting iguanas all over the place and whatever. And that stuff just kind of comes natural almost to him, like just by watching dad or watching mom and a lot of things. But the thing that I started reflecting on the hardest is like that the responsibility that you bear to like pass that on to your kid because of, like you said, the way it's hard not, and maybe it's the age thing kicking in or what. I'm 35 now, so it's like now if it's like you look around the world a little different than you did at 20, but it's like, man, this place is pretty wild, spinning a lot faster than I feel like it did when I was a kid. And I got lucky enough to find my way that way. But it's like I've got to make sure that there's a foundation for him to go off of, because I know how it affected my life, and they're gonna I feel like they're going to need it more than we are, in a
Yeah,
way. We all need it the same, but just, yeah, looking at it from a dad's eyes is way different. And there's a burden of responsibility that definitely weighs on you.
agreed for sure.
And filling the freezer is the second burden. You got to teach them how to do that.
No kidding. No kidding.
Heck yeah, man. Well, that's so cool. Because you said you got your kids out, or the little guys do come out with you every once in a while. What's your biggest tip on getting a kid out in the field?
Get them their own pair of binoculars. If they have their own pair that they can just, whether they can see anything out of them or not. I've always, I always have an old pair laying around or whatever that I can just throw on them. And first of all, it's cuter than crap to see your little kid, holding a pair of binos up. But
Yep.
that's been the funnest thing. So I've got the two boys now, so I try and have both of them have a pair so that they're not fighting over one. And then you obviously have to kind of take it with, like, if I'm going to go alone, I'm going to spend a lot more time in certain areas or whatever. But you have to keep it entertaining for them. So if you're not seeing deer for very long, you really have to move and, and
For
do
sure.
something, But
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's honestly one of my favorite things, to go over there and just spend time with them. And if we see deer, awesome. If not, we'll do something else fun for them. But um,
Yeah.
my oldest, he's been with me for three bucks. He's been able to see the whole process of, getting in close, shooting them, going, cleaning them, loading
No
them up,
kidding.
getting them home. And then my 3-year-old, so he was two last year. He was there when my wife shot her buck, so that was kind of cool. So they've been
Yeah.
around it. They think it's cooler than crap. So hopefully that it stays that way, and they can do it. Because I don't know, when I was raised, my dad hunted, my grandpa hunted. Like, I come from a lot of hunters, but they were meat hunters. They weren't the ones that are like, no, we're not shooting that. That's too small. They were like, dude, if that makes you excited, shoot them. Which
Get them,
I,
boy. Yeah.
if you can't get excited over a 2 point, you got to quit hunting. Like, it's
For
just an
sure.
exciting thing. And I understand being patient and, finding the right buck and whatever. But I love the kind of culture that I was raised in hunting, of like, hey, if it makes you excited, go for it. So that's kind of what I want to pass on to my kids too. Is just like, I don't care if it's a doe. If you have a doe tag and it makes you excited, go for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
and then you can kind of instill in them later on, like, hey, if you want to kill a big buck, you might have to wait a little bit and, pass up these little guys. And anyway, so it's just fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah, man. Spot on. I thought well, the whole cycle of a hunter thing, you think you're going to grow out of it when you start reading that, there's the first phase where it's like get anything you can, and then you start hunting for different reasons as you go along, and then eventually it's like teaching somebody to hunt. And I thought I was going to grow out of the, if I got a tag in my pocket, it's going to get filled, but I just haven't. I still haven't. Like every time I
There
get
is
to go, dude,
nothing.
I'm like,
There is
I
nothing
am on a
wrong with
mission. Yeah, I'm on a mission to bring something home. Like if I go out, I don't know. I think, because I grew up. My dad would like tell hunting stories that he was never like a true hunter, I don't think, but like he'd go with his uncles, or do they do this and that. Periodically in his life he hunted and he did a lot of fishing. But I grew up, and yeah, some wild hair in me was just like it was kind of wired in who I was. And I think probably hearing some of those stories, and my grandpa always had uh, like a dead hair European mount hanging from his rafters in his barn, and he had a cool hunting story to go with that. That's like the one time he went hunting, because he grew up in Iowa way back when like deer were just starting to even get to the population where you could even hunt them. And so I think it was like the adventure of hearing those stories like that kind of got me into it. But anyway, like yeah, the one thing my dad did do a good job of is like kind of raising me to be a penny pincher up front. So I think part of it's like I'm investing time, I'm investing money, I'm investing gas, and all these different things. So like I think that's what builds up with me. It's more like, I'd really rather fill this tag than not fill the tag. And
Yeah,
if
you
I
want to
have the
return.
opportunity, I want a return on that investment. Exactly right. Yep. Yep. So but that was like with Montana, the thing I started doing there, because I grew up in Iowa, but you get a buck tag for bow, buck tag for gun, and then doe tags. But you buy each individual tag separate, but it's the same thing. If I paid for that tag, like if that, like you said, if that deer gets me excited, there's a good chance I'm drawing on it. It doesn't really matter. But then going to Virginia was our first duty station, and you get 6 deer tags with your license out there. So I'm thinking, oh, dude, this is going to be the best thing ever. And then I think grand total in Virginia, I killed 3 deer out of the 4 years we were there. So wasn't as awesome as I thought, but it was also tough to like navigate and find places to go because I had to make kind of the first place I'd ever go that I had to find my own permission and do all this stuff that way, which was good. But same thing, it's a little tough when you got 6 tags in your pocket and you're eating 3 of them. You're like, oh man. Then, but
Yeah.
same thing, if it's brown, it's down, dude, because I got 6 tags to fill with. And then Montana, like when you could, because of all the doe opportunities, there wasn't like I didn't have to get the first deer with my buck tag that I could possibly go after. So that my first deer I wanted to get was I wanted to get a mule deer buck, but the first one I got had a fork on one side and a spike on the other. It was just like I saw him put his head up, he had horns. I'm like, that's it, there we go. I'm making my goals come true here. But yeah, then the next season, it was the first year. I was like, okay, I'm going to save my buck tag as long as I possibly can. I'm going to get all these doe tags. So you get apply for all these easy to draw doe permits and things, and had a blast because I was hunting all over the state in different areas that I drew tags for. And then, yeah, ended up shooting that was a double drop tine buck that year, I think. But I waited till the last day of season and happened to run across him. He wasn't magnificent, but like he was kind of at that point where I'm like, I don't know, maybe I just use a doe. If you fill my buck tag with a doe this year. And then he turned his head just right, and you could see those little tiny drop tines coming off there. I'm like, oh no, that one's going down. Like that's exciting. But
That's
yeah,
really
man,
cool.
it's yeah, always got to fill that tag. That's my goal. But here in Texas, it's really weird. You got a license, and same thing. You get a bunch of tags with your license, but it's like mostly pay to play out here. So that's hard for
Uh,
me because it's like you
where are
said,
you in Texas?
we're in Central Texas, Killeen right now. So she's stationed over at
Oh,
Fort Hood.
I've been down there. That's a cool area.
It is. The country's awesome. The terrain's really cool. The heart, like so there's good hunting opportunities on Fort Hood itself, and but the only thing that I haven't like I really should just invest myself in that. But we're here for like 13 months, so I've been trying to like kind of figure out other places to go. But the terrain down here makes it tougher for me in my mind with like a 3-year-old coming along with me because see, that's the other part is like I'm full time with him, so he's going to have to be there, which is great. He loves going out, but like snakes, thorns on everything, like all that. The brush is way different. So like if I'm taking him, it's a lot. Then you can't see anything. That's the other thing because you're in, basically head height brush the whole time. Like he can see better than I can because he's so short.
Mm,
So it's just a totally different ball game. And then with being Fort Hood, it's not like you can run cameras to help figure out where you can go, or maybe pack in a blind where he could like sit, or so it's just a little different too. So if you got a fat wallet, it's not hard to hunt down here. If you are trying to weigh like the price per pound of meat, like I am, which is how I look at like all of the hunting scenario anyway, like it's pretty hard to justify like 500 bucks for a whitetail doe. You're kind of like, and they're not big. They're not like big northern deer either. So
yeah,
different ball game for sure.
yeah. We went down there. We were in New Berlin, which is over by like San Antonio.
Oh, okay.
Um, but we went on an axis deer hunt with you kill an axis deer and a couple hogs or something, and
Cool.
it was fun. It was cool. It was way different. Like you're literally sitting there, and we were on a high fence ranch, which is way weird. And they're
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
throwing corn out in front of you, and then they'll come in and eat the corn, and you're like, this is a little different, but it was just cool to see all the different animals that they had on there and stuff. It was just me and my wife went down there and got to spend that few days together, just really on a sightseeing tour. And then when the right
Yeah.
animal came in, this that was I shot an
Oh
axis
yeah.
bull right there, so it was
Heck yeah.
cool, but nothing I probably would pay very much to do. So I get what you're saying as far as the price per pound thing. It was definitely not worth it.
Oh yeah. Well, like, cause I made a bucket list when I came down here. I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick 5 things because there's just so many animals down here and exotics and whatever. And I was like, okay. And I always thought black bucks were really cool.
Mm,
I always kind of thought oddhead hunting was cool, but now it's gotten kind of cool to the point where it's getting expensive. But you can hunt oddhead down here, free range or high fence. Axis deer was one, and then just a true nothing. I don't need a 300-inch deer, but just a cool Texas deer. Just they have their own look to them, and I've always like I remember growing up watching the hunting channel. And it's like got to go to Texas one day and kill a deer. That's like really just they got their own kind of thing going on down here. Yeah, and then so I made this list. I had like 5 things on it, and I get down here, start googling it, and I was like, "Whew!" Like I don't think any of that's gonna happen actually.
yeah, it's
And then you see
handy.
like you go out to we went to one of those drive-through ranches where you kind of it's like you buy a bucket of alfalfa pellets or whatever, and you can kind of feed the animals as you drive through and stuff. And I remember that was where it hit me because I still thought like I might spend money on a black buck. They're pretty cool. And then I saw one like for the first time, and it like doesn't even come up halfway up your door in your car, and you're like,
Handy.
oh, for that price, man, like I'm gonna get maybe 10 pounds of meat off of it, maybe, it's like,
Yeah.
holy cow, they're tiny. But like you
Yeah,
said,
we
it is an
saw.
adventure. When we went out to that ranch, and it was like, I went out to the mountain ranch, is the ranch I went to, with a buddy of mine, who was like the ranch manager out there. And just sitting in that blind the first night, when the animals decided, it was like 95 degrees outside, so it was really hot. When they did finally start to come in, though, it was just kind of cool to sit back and watch, because yes, it's high fence. This one was like 4,000 or a little over 4,000 acres, I think. But it's still kind of odd, because it's not like they just come in on a beeline right on the road. Like, they kind of just pop out of everywhere. And like, you probably walked by some, walk into the blind, and they just are laying there. But yeah, seeing all the different animals kind of come in, and watching how like an oddad will run off pretty much everything else, because he's kind of the bully of the place. And like, it was fun to watch for sure. Like you said, it's more of a sightseeing type thing, and you kind of just sit back and relax. And I was going for a red deer hind, or a brocorn, or a cow oryx, and neither one of
Oh,
those animals showed up the 2 days I was there, like, to the feeder. So to that point, like, you think you got a guaranteed bag, and don't even see them, because they're off doing their own thing, or doing different stuff that day than every other animal on the place, or whatever. But yeah, we got to see all
yeah,
kinds of stuff out there. It's pretty neat.
cool. Yeah, that's way cool.
Well, awesome, dude. Well, it's been great having you on. Way we're moving forward with the Prayin and Slayin podcast, like I said, into next year, is just fired up my passion, just for the fact of people telling hunting stories and building that hunting community, and getting good information out there that people just learn from everybody else who's blue collar like us. And you don't have to be a celebrity to be on this podcast, boy. So we'll anyway, it's been awesome, man, getting to hear about hunting with little kids, and some awesome Idaho hunting. And
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
heck yeah, man. Well, we'll have to get you on again, and we may be working on a Dead Nuts podcast behind the scenes, so I'm sure other people will be hearing you on that one sometime soon as well. So
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
awesome, brother. Anything you want to leave the people with?
No, no, not really.
Okay.
I think you
Hey,
heard it.
easy
You
cheesy.
heard everything that's important to me so far. So
I love it, man. Well, that's what it's all about. Well, very cool, man. Well, it's been great having you, Tyler. And yeah, man, we'll get you on another one here with the Dead Nuts one pretty soon.
awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, Aaron.
All right, brother. Have a good one. See ya.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, guys. That was Tyler Dunn with Rockman Packs and the Dead Nuts Field Ops team. It was a great time having him on, and this is going to be a new thing that we do here with the Prayin and Slayin podcast. Obviously we had our series that we've done. We've done the Operation Conservation, we've done Operation Hunt, and then moving into next year, Operation Hunt is actually going to become its own podcast. So that's really exciting, under the Prayin and Slayin network. And conversations just like this are going to live here at the Prayin and Slayin podcast, where we literally bring on anybody from around the hunting community, and we have awesome conversations, get to know each other, and just build up that hunting community that we're all a part of and that we all love so much, and share some awesome hunting stories, share things about life, and just make this world a better place. Talking to Tyler outside of the corndog stand, man, the thing that sticks with me, and it brings me back to Proverbs 22:6, which says, "Direct your children onto the right path, and when they are older, they will not leave it." We talked about me becoming a dad, and one of the biggest things on my heart was, how do I, make sure that my son has a foundation of faith, or my sons, as we're going to have here coming up here in January. And it's such an important part of my life. And I know that because it was instilled in me at a young age, it's allowed me to weather a lot of storms in life, and allowed me to be the man I am today, and just guide me through some of the toughest things I've had. And I really want that for my sons, especially as this world's gone on. And Tyler's, father of 2 young boys and a daughter. Same thing with him, man. It's important to give these kids a foundation and faith in Jesus and what he's done for us, because that's going to carry them through, the things that they've maybe feel like they've messed up or whatever. And that's just such an important thing to have as a foundation in your life, to weather any storm that comes along the way. So anyway, guys, go out there, eat a corn dog today, support Tyler's life mission there, and go do something nice for somebody. And as always, keep praying and slaying.